Just waiting to make sure we started this stream. We're good. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the July 18th Township Council meeting. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting was provided on December 21st, 2023 by sending written notice and electronic notice to the Courier News and the Breeze, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building, and filing with the township clerk. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Here.
Councilman Cardilla? Here. Councilman Norgalis? Here. Councilman Perdoso? Here. Council President Ring?
Here. And we have minutes for approval. The June 27th closed session. I'm sorry, the Pledge of Allegiance. My bad.
Yeah, I'll lead it. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
All right, now we'll try the minutes. The June 27th closed session are going around. Do I have a motion for the June 27th, 2024? I know there was some revisions circulated.
I'll move it as amended.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Township Council reports. We'll start with Councilman Kirsch.
So first, for the benefit of the audience, not 2 minutes before the meeting, Council President Ring said, "Are you willing to lead the pledge?" I said, "Sure," and then we almost skipped it. So it was prominently on everybody's mind. So my reports this evening. We are introducing a budget during this session, and that was the result of many collaborative budget conversations that have occurred over the last few weeks. My second report, July 4th, I had the pleasure of attending the ceremony at the Middlebrook encampment. For those who are not familiar with it, I'd recommend putting it onto your calendar for next year. It really is a very special, uniquely Bridgewater event. Beyond the welcome remarks from the mayor, which were clearly the highlight that day, the two items that occur, one is the lowering and then raising of a Hopkinson flag, and that's same as the design shown on the back wall of our chamber here, and then a reading of the Declaration of Independence. And that's really a nice, as I said, uniquely Bridgewater event. The flag that comes down has been up 365, I guess maybe 366 days, because we've had a leap day in there. It is authorized by Congress to be flown 24 hours a day. And so the flag, as you'd imagine, when it comes down after a year, it's maybe a little more orange than red and maybe a little more medium blue than deep blue, but it certainly represents the passage of time in Bridgewater 1 year to the next, and certainly is something I recommend that everybody consider for 2025. The zoning board met on July 9th. There was a residential case. A conditional approval was provided. The planning board met on July 16th, continuation of discussion on a subdivision on Mountaintop Road. Last night, on the 17th, I had the opportunity to attend the pre-opening night at the Big Chicken restaurant over at the Commons. I think some may have been there today for the ribbon cutting. And then finally, I wanted to share the news with my colleagues and any members of the public. I have been named to the Board of Trustees of Home Sharing, Inc., volunteer position, but I am on the Board of Trustees. That's an organization that links those in various communities across New Jersey who may have excess housing, may have an extra bedroom or couple of bedrooms, and connects those with individuals who may need housing. And the reason why it's such a special organization is the most common use story is potentially an older couple or a widow or a widower who may, again, have that extra space and may need an individual who can do certain chores, rake leaves and make sure the garbage gets put out, help with the grocery shopping. So that can be a real win-win for everybody. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Cardilla.
I just would like to say that this past Tuesday I attended the first of two meetings regarding the open space and recreation
Councilman Norgalis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy birthday to our country as we celebrated July 4th with fireworks at North Branch Park. I attended the quarterly meeting of the Bridgewater Local Emergency Council chaired by Police Sergeant Jamie Edwards. FEMA is still considering reimbursement for items from tropical storm items. Still a work in process. Police Officer Brian Trumansky is the newly appointed deputy LA coordinator. There was an extensive discussion of the damage assessment annex to our OEM plan. The purpose of this annex is to define and provide guidance for the development and operation of a viable damage assessment program during any emergency or disaster situation. The Bauji Hindu Temple held its annual health camp on the 14th of this month at the temple. This health camp was free to all township residents. This year the testing was expanded along with a number of different specialists providing free advice. By the way, when I say expanded, they did blood work too for people who wanted it. Somerset County to host free document shredding event on July 20th at the Chimney Rock DPW Garage, which is off 22 in the park. Attended the ribbon cutting of the Fogo de Chao restaurant at the Commons Mall. This is a Brazilian company specializing in high-end meat serving. They use a carving knife to cut the ribbon as opposed to scissors. Somerset County Prosecutor John McDonald sent out a public safety message alerting residents to be aware of a new fraudulent tax scam and jury duty scheme. I always encourage everybody, be careful who you talk to on the phone or who you send in for personal information. There are a lot of scams out there. Lastly, I attended a budget planning session with Administrator Pappas, CFO Pandos, among others, to obtain additional details on the proposed budget that we will introduce tonight. That's very important.
Thank you. Councilman Pedroso.
Thank you, sir. I attended numerous things that have been mentioned already. I'm not going to repeat them. I thank Mr. Pappas for inviting me for a budget meeting, which I attended, as long as Councilman Kirsch was there with me, keeping me on track. And I do want to welcome Big Chicken and Fogo de Chao at the Bridgewater Township, but more importantly, to the Bridgewater Commons. Bridgewater Township has a partnership with the Bridgewater Commons, and we do share in some of their profit share. So a win for the Commons is a win for the Bridgewater taxpayer. So it's nice to have quality businesses come in and into our mall. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. For myself, numerous budget meetings over the last couple weeks participated in. As been mentioned, several of us attended the ribbon cutting of Fogo de Chao. One thing I will just additional comment on that, it's a business that is already showing itself to be an active member of our community. They donated a percentage of their opening week sales to the food bank network here in Bridgewater. And they, during the opening ceremonies, they presented a check for 10% of their sales for the first week, which was a check for $27,000 to the food bank. So Fogo de Chao has only been with us a couple weeks, but has already stepped up as a active member of our community and supporting folks in town. Obviously, it speaks volumes for their business the first week. I tried to actually go this week with some friends and couldn't even get a reservation. So they're apparently doing very well. And then I also attended the pre-opening last night of the Hot Chicken, which is a Shaquille O'Neal franchise. Shaq is supposedly coming to town in a couple weeks. We don't know when, but his franchise has opened over in the village. That is my report. Mayor's report.
Thank you. Just a few items. One, the turf fields at the high school are almost complete. As everyone knows, we have a deal going back with the school district since they were first put in. So we're partnering with them to get the turf fields there done, as well as our municipal turf field. So I have reports for anybody who's interested. I will pass that down for the council and turf field status update. But that is almost complete. I don't know if I have enough here. Pass those down. high school is almost complete, and it will be finished in time for the start of the school year, and our field will begin shortly. We had a note sale recently. This is not permanent financing, but this is for a year length of time. Bridgewater was the lowest rate in the state, so that was positive. And Anthony Verso, our financial advisor, pointed out that that was a big deal for us. So I have that for anybody who's interested. Notes on that. As everyone is aware, we had a lot of flooding issues, with the storms at the end of June. So we have reports from Tom Genova, our Director of Municipal Services and Sewer Utility, as well as from Diggy Schimpf from Public Works, just outlining the status of what occurred, any issues that we saw, and the status of correcting them, or issues that we may want to look at in the future. So I have both of those reports. I will pass those down for the council as well. A couple other quick items. I did forward to, I don't know if I forwarded to all the council members, I forwarded to some that there was a piece of legislation sponsored by our Congressman Tom Kane with regard to grants for fire safety. So I forwarded that to some of the council members here who may have relationships and connections with the fire and rescue community, to see whether or not any of our rescue squads or fire departments or other emergency service responders may be able to take advantage of the grants through the federal program. We were also honored to host Congressman Kane, who came in for a breakfast with police chiefs throughout the district that was hosted here in Bridgewater. So we're glad to be able to accommodate him. And last thing, I have Chief is here. Several months ago, council may remember, we had a resident come forward who raised concerns and allegations with regard to interaction with our one of our police officers with his son. The son and the father were both here, made accusations against our police officers, and Chief Mitzak has reviewed that matter, and I'd like to, since it was discussed at the last, or well, when they were here, it was discussed in public, I'd ask the Chief to just give a status report on that. You can come up, Chief.
Okay, good evening. Like the mayor said, I'd just like to talk about the investigation of alleged racism, prejudice, and profiling against Officer Holzel as presented by Mr. Ashish Joshi at the public council meeting in this room here on January 18, 2024. What led him here was on December 20th, 2023, Officer Holzel was dispatched to Sunset Ridge for a burglar alarm. On January 18, 2024, Mr. Ashish Joshi and his 14-year-old son came to the council meeting. During public comment, they alleged that from the incident on December 20, 2023, Officer Holzel was racist, he profiled, and failed to de-escalate the situation. Mr. Joshi alleged that he had video of the entire incident. Council members, all you here present, tried speaking with Mr. Joshi. Council members inquired if there was any racial slurs used. The 14-year-old stated there was no racial slurs, but there was obvious prejudice towards him. He further stated Officer Holzel taught him that racism is real, and that was the first time he had been racially profiled by anyone. Mr. Joshi related that he saw the video and it made him very uncomfortable. Councilmember Pedroso asked Mr. Joshi what racism was experienced, and Mr. Joshi responded, there was racism, absolutely 110%. I've seen the video. All this interaction was recorded. Every council meeting is recorded, and you can see that on YouTube if you want to go back and look at his comments. Once I heard Mr. Joshi's comments, I immediately tried to speak with him to inquire about his allegations. He refused to speak with me and walked out of the room. I immediately walked up to the dais, and I advised all the council members and the public that a thorough internal affairs investigation would be conducted to investigate Joshi's claims. As you can all imagine, I was appalled at what I heard. I was concerned, disturbed, worried about what I was going to see on that camera, on that video. I was upset that no supervisor brought this to my attention at that time. On January 22nd, 2024, Lieutenant Peter Ox was assigned the Internal Affairs investigation into this matter. I will try to set the stage for everyone of what occurred on December 20, 2023. The entire call for service was recorded on body-worn camera from the moment Officer Hozel arrived on scene until he left the scene. Officer Hozel was dispatched to an activated burglar alarm at 5:16 p.m. Now again, this is December, it's dark now. The house was located on Sunset Ridge. It was completely dark outside on this night. Officer Hozel parks on the street and starts to walk up a long driveway. At the top of the driveway is a person wearing a hoodie, standing there with his hands in his pockets. Officer Hozel shines his flashlight on. Officer Hozel asks him to remove his hands for his safety from his pockets. Officer Hozel asked him for identification, and he provided a California driver's license. The individual advised he is at the house with his friend. Shortly thereafter, the 14-year-old Joshi responds outside. The 14-year-old advised Officer Hozel that he is on the phone with the homeowner. Officer Hozel is handed the cell phone. Officer Hozel puts the phone in his vest over here like this with the speaker on. Officer Hozel was asking relevant questions and writing the information down on his notepad. Officer Hozel confirms that the boys were allowed to be at the house. Officer Hozel gives the phone back and starts to speak with the adult male in the driveway, telling him that it's not a good idea to be in the dark with his hands in the pocket when an officer approaches. At this time, the adult male didn't respond. He kind of ignored him. Officer Hozel stated to him, "That's okay, you don't have to answer me." Officer Hozel then thanked both of them and said, "Have a good night, guys," and then he walked away. Lieutenant Ox conducted a thorough investigation. He tried to interview the Joshis, but they were not cooperative. He responded to the house where the burglar alarm was activated to see if there's any other video that was captured besides what was on our body-worn camera. The homeowner never called back. Lieutenant Ox also looked at other homes in the area that might have surveillance camera, which was never located or provided. Lieutenant Ox reviewed all the evidence and determined that Officer Hozel did not violate any AG guidelines, Bridgewater Township Police Department policy and procedures, or Bridgewater Township Police Department rules and regulations. To confirm our findings, I also sent all the evidence to the Somerset County prosecutors for an independent review of these allegations. First Assistant Prosecutor Brian Stack reviewed the case and provided a written report. I'm not going to read his report, but I am going to read some highlights of his report. I'm the Deputy First Assistant Prosecutor and the Legal Advisor to the Internal Affairs Unit and the Bias Crime Unit for the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office. I have reviewed body-worn camera video from your officer's response to the December 20, 2023 activated burglar alarm, as well as video from January 18, 2024, at the Town Council meeting of which Mr. Josie and his son alleged that his son and a cousin experienced racism during the incident. After reviewing the video, I see no evidence to support Mr. Josie and his son's claims of racism or other improper conduct by law enforcement. Just so you know, the entire interaction with Officer Hozel and the people at the scene lasted 4 minutes. The body-worn camera video does not support any of these claims by Mr. Joshi. As for being profiled and approached for no reason, these claims ignore the reality of this situation. An officer responded to an activated residential burglar alarm in an area of town with frequent burglaries and found a man with his hands in his pockets standing in the dark in the driveway of the residence. Far from no reason, these facts instead constitute articulable suspicion to lawfully detain and question the cousin and the son. In fact, Officer Hozel would have been derelict in his duties had he not stopped and questioned them. Granted, Officer Hozel's tone in speaking was firm, but it was appropriate command presence for an officer dealing with two unknown actors standing in the dark outside of a residence with an activated burglar alarm. Unfortunately, Mr. Josie and his son appeared to view this incident from a very egocentric perspective and failed to appreciate that unless until Officer Hozel investigated this matter, he had no way of knowing whether they were a juvenile neighbor and his cousin watering the plants who accidentally activated the alarm, or B, two career criminals who were interrupted in the middle of burglarizing a vacationing resident's home. In conclusion, your officer's conduct was appropriate. Please contact me if you have any questions. Just so everyone's aware, myself and the captains are usually sitting in that back room at every council meeting. If there's ever a concern, that's why we're here. You can come talk to me at any time. If I'm not here, you're welcome to come to my office and speak to me anytime. Spreading false information can have serious consequences, including misinformation, confusion, harm to individuals or organizations, erosion of trust, and societal division. In closing, what was alleged by Mr. Joshi and his son was not what was portrayed on the body-worn camera. To come before the council and public and allege racism and prejudice against Officer Holzel without providing any proof or allowing a thorough investigation to take place before coming in front of council is slander, character assassination, and public humiliation. That is my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. Given that the initial complaint was made in public, we thought it was appropriate to respond in kind in public. And I would just, I would further add the chief's too nice to do so, but I relates in public to our police department and our officers. So, Chief, I appreciate the investigation that you've done. And for anybody, council members, the body-worn camera footage is there. So if anybody doesn't believe or feels the need to review it themselves, that's a public document. So
Could we make it, could we,
He already provided a copy.
could we make that video easily available to be seen since it's now a public issue?
if anybody wants a copy, they can get it from the clerk's office. I don't believe we're going to post it online.
It's like mosquitoes. I don't know if that's part of that property also.
Already down there, we've contacted the property owner to indicate that they have an ordinance that requires property maintenance and that they have to maintain it, and if they don't, they will be cited. So we are, this is, I think Brady was out this week? Yes. Out this week. So if you, hopefully you'll see a quick improvement, but if not, we're on top of enforcement with them, and you can always reach out to the township if you want an update. Unfortunately, if property owners don't comply, the enforcement process can be a little slower than you'd like. Unfortunately, we can't manage the court process, but we'll give you an update if you reach out to us, okay?
Yesterday, there were a couple of guys trimming some of the high grass around the outside of the perimeter fence.
Right.
Nothing
inside.
on
Well,
the inside.
yeah, this has been a couple folks that brought this up, so we'll check a look. If they've made some improvements, but not all of them, we'll remind them that they have to do everything.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, my name is Janice Reno. I live at 302 Jamestown Road in regarding to the storm drains. So there's a few of us here, but I just want to let you know, I've been a resident here in Bridgewater since 1997. We had moved to Jamestown in 2018. Since then, with Ida, I just want you to see a phase two besides water problems. My house was surrounded by water, and I'm not even on the brook side. It had caused damage to my foundation. There was a 6 to 5 foot hole that came in. We were actually dry vacuuming, and we just ran up. It not only affected our basement, it affected the first level of my home. I'm not exaggerating, but it must have been about $100,000 to replace, you name it. The garage had to be fixed, the first level, the bathroom, things that I've lost in the basement, washer, dryer, furnace, things that my parents both are deceased, I have lost. I can't get them back. I was displaced. I couldn't get back to my home for about 4 months. So yes, water drainage, it might be not as a problem to you, but when you're affected, I don't feel safe in my home. And I'm concerned about, the property. Like, I can't do this again. There's other people that have been living on that street, has been dealing with storms. I don't even know how. To me, they're like heroes because once is too much. But I just wanted to voice this to you. Basically, we just want to be safe in our homes, safe in our neighborhoods, and keep our properties not damaged. So thank you for your time.
On the agenda tonight, we are hopefully approving an award of contract for improvements on Acorn, Lilac, Jamestown, and Yorktown, which will also include some improvements to the drainage, to the stormwater, to the extent that it's in the street. I know in your area, I think behind your house is you have a stream. So the drainage improvements and the stormwater that we do as part of the road project may or may not address if it's flooding issues coming from streams, but it should improve at least the stormwater from the road system over there.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Someone was looking to speak. Please, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I got a question. The question is, that's a good question. William Getz. I'm at 2915 Packer Court, Bridgewater, New Jersey. And I got a question. Why is our water being poisoned? The American Water serves 615,000 people in our Raritan-Chemung district. I found this document. I want to pass it up to the chairman. It's from American Water, and it labels all the contaminants in our water. EWG, Environmental Working Group. It's a 501c3 down in Washington. You know, I'm a single guy. I pay $45 a month for water. I remember when it was $45 a quarter. And all of a sudden, they switched it, and it became 4 times the amount profit for them. Then when you call them, they have the standard answers. So at 615,000 people, you divide that by 4. Let's say 4 people per family. You divide that by 4, that's 153,857 households. Those 800, so that 153,857 households times $45. $45 is what a single person pays. Family of 4 would use more water than that, probably 4 times the amount. So these numbers are conservative. $45 times 153,857 comes out to $6,923,587 per month. So this is $7 million a month going to American Water. $7 million a month. So what are we getting for $7 million a month? Well, we're getting 34 total contaminants. I have to put my glasses on to read this. This way, so you notice this. Well, you could look into EWG, Environmental Working Group. Environmental Drinking Water Quality Report shows results of tests conducted by the water utility and provided to the Environmental Working Group by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, as well as information from the U.S. EPA Enforcement and Compliance History Database. For the latest quarter assessed by the U.S. EPA, January 2021, March 2021, tap water provided by this water utility was in compliance with federal health-based drinking water standards. Then you go to the next page, and it says, legal does not necessarily equal safe. Getting a passing grade from the federal government does not mean the water meets latest health guidelines. Legal limits for contaminants in tap water have not been updated for 20 years. The best way to ensure your clean water tap is to keep pollution out of the source. So we're paying $7 million a month, the residents of the Raritan-Chemung district. What are we getting? You know, there's a lot of names I can't read, but right off the top, we're getting 69 times the amount of arsenic, according to EWG's health guidelines. I don't know, anybody, I don't know, I guess if my wife was giving me arsenic every day, I'd say she's poisoning me, right? So is American Water poisoning us? That's just 1 out of 34. And there's so many big words: chromium, chloroform, chromium 12 times the amount, chloroform 69 times the amount. And there's forever chemicals in there as well. So uranium, 2.7 times the amount of uranium. That exceeds the guidelines. Sure. So I want to give this to the chairman. And maybe you can look into this. And we can move this issue forward.
The water company in New Jersey American Water Company is regulated by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. This body would have very little oversight over the water company and their operations.
Who has oversight?
The New Jersey Board of Public Utilities is who has oversight for New Jersey American Water.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bill.
And if anyone wants a copy, I have a few extra copies.
Good evening. Kathy Franco, 766 Weemac Road. First, let me start by saying that I had absolutely no intention of coming this evening. However, the live stream stopped right after Mayor Mensch stated if anyone wants a copy of the body cam video, they can get it from the clerk's office. It will not be posted online. The live stream video only came back on at 8:19 p.m. I did send emails to OCR regarding my concern about the fact that the live stream was not working. And excuse my breathing, I have a back injury, and that's why I actually had no intention of coming this evening. In addition, Councilmen Nogales and Credella, when you speak, either giving your reports or speak to the council, would you please remember to turn your microphones on because they cannot be heard on the live stream at all. But since I'm here, I want to mention the budget, which I know is going to be proposed tonight. It's about time, and it's long overdue, according to the DCA regulations and standards. When will the proposed budget be available online for residents to review? And when will the public hearing be held? And finally, I want to thank all my fellow residents for coming tonight and speaking about whatever your concerns are to this council and to make your concerns public, because I think that's very important. Thank you.
Ms. Franco, once the budget's introduced, it will be available. Sure, I don't know if it will be available immediately online, but Mike says it will be available tomorrow, and the final action on it will be August 15th.
Okay, John Arcolia, 1110 Washington Valley Road. I have, I guess, a question about not the budget, but the note sale that just went through this July. I know it's very hard to, get information from this town on financial matters, but can you give me some brief details of the principal amount and the interest rate for the notes sale?
Yeah, if you email,
It's just two numbers.
Yeah, I don't have it in front. I pass it down. So if you
Well, somebody has it here. I mean,
give you the chart at some point, if I can find it, just give a.
that's was just read. Can you read off? It's.
You're talking about the bond.
Correct, the note sale.
If you weren't here for the mayor's comments, there was multiple.
Oh, so bond, you went for long-term bonds? That's what,
Notes. It's notes.
notes, one-year note. Well, still would like to know the number.
Yeah, you got-
The amount of the bond was $23,839,000. The NRC rate was 3.442%, and the yield was 3.40. And we're proud to say that of all the bonds,
You got it, Howard? I can.
I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. I say again, the amount of the bond was $23,839,000. The one rate was 3.442%, and the yield was 3.400. And it was, of course, a tax-exempt bond. And of the 369, actually, it's 10 offerings that went in. We got the best rate.
All right, so that's about $800,000 in interest for the year then, okay. Second question is, just recently, let's go back previous history. In '22, the planning board changed the zoning for a parcel of land behind Kidd Street for a electronic billboard. That was put into the master plan. The council did a first reading, unanimous approval for voting for a lease of public property to a private entity called Catalyst Experimental. Catalyst Experimental has defaulted on their payments, and their billboards are sold. In light of that, can I get some promise from the council or the mayor that the zoning for the Kidd Street parcel of land will now prohibit things like billboards, now that this chapter is closed?
Maybe. We really haven't thought about it, quite frankly, until.
Well,
we haven't moved forward,
you
so.
spend all this time changing the master plan in '22, and then going forward with you're the exclusive seller to an exclusive buyer. The buyer has crapped out.
Yeah, I think, John.
I think you may want to, revisit the master plan.
Well, yeah, in all seriousness, what we're redoing the master plan process right now, I think, as you know. So, right now, we're not going to do any special zoning just on that property, but to the extent that we're looking at the master plan and we're looking at overall uses of all of our properties, that would be one of the things that we look at, is to see whether or not what's currently permitted should continue to be permitted as an option, or whether it shouldn't be.
Oh, I think since the folly of it has been proven, I think it's about time to just go back to the way things were. All right, thank you.
We agree.
Thank you.
Seeing no additional movement, I move we close public input.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Public input is closed. Make sure I don't skip anything this time. I'm going to put the glasses on. Next up is 10A. We have two items under Section 10 related to the 2024 municipal budget. A is a calendar year 2024 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limits and to establish a cap bank under NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Only two comments as a general matter. The cap bank issue, I think, as the council knows, that's a municipal accounting matter, which is relating to, has nothing to do with tax increases or tax expenditures. It's a accounting over, if you don't raise expenditures within a certain amount per year, you can essentially bank it. That way towns don't feel the need that they have to raise expenditures just to preserve it for the future. So that is what it is, and we've done it every year, as far as I know, for the past 20 years. With regard to introduction to the budget, I just wanted to thank the Budget Subcommittee for their work with the administration on this, and obviously now the full council has the budget. So I look forward to any additional comments that the council has, and we'll be available to the public for comment and review, and we'll have a final hearing.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve 10A.
Okay?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nurgalis?
Yes.
Councilman Perdoso?
No.
Council President Ring?
Yes. All right. 10B is the introduction of the municipal budget. As you've heard the mayor say, there will, the introduction of the budget is simply the council acknowledging receipt of the budget from the administration. This vote tonight does not approve the budget. It starts the legal process of that. We'll have the clerk will read an official statement, assuming this passes, but this is just soon as we get the word from Suzanne.
Monday? Monday. It was Monday, right?
Can I have a motion to resume public session?
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. So we have completed our closed session, and as I mentioned prior to us going into closed session, there was the potential for us to take further action. I believe at this point, we are going to propose introducing an ordinance authorizing a quitclaim deed releasing affordability controls attached to certain affordable housing units at Block 526, lots 16 and 17 on Griggs Drive.
I'd like to know what include the street addresses.
Yeah, we don't have the actual number.
Yeah.
Are those the items that are in Schedule, they're in Schedule A, correct?
I'm gonna, here we go, we have.
Oh, they're there.
We have it.
Oh, they're in there. They're in Schedule A.
So for the public record, that is 203 Griggs Drive, 206 Griggs Drive, 208 Griggs Drive, 301 Griggs Drive, 401 Griggs Drive, 402 Griggs Drive, 1404 Somerset, and 1407 Somerset Ave.
So it was 8.
So this is the same person owns all of these units?
No. Is it same person?
No, I think I was just used one instrument. I don't know how they retained representation.
Okay, that's all.
Apartments. They're apartments.
Got it.
So, this is just for the public's benefit. These are properties that have been in the affordable housing program for their required 30 years, and the ownership of those particular units has requested they be released from affordable housing controls, which would put them back at market rate, also would then change their assessments from affordable housing to market rate units. Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to introduce 15A.
I'll make the motion to introduce 15A.
I'll second the motion.
Unless there's any comments, let's take a roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
No.
Councilman Nurgalis?
Yes.
Councilman Perdoso?
I'll vote yes to introduce.
Council President Ring?
Yes. If you could set the public hearing?
Yep. Final action is scheduled for August 1st, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. here in the Municipal Court Room. Public inspection of this ordinance is available on the Township website, bulletin board, and through the clerk's office.
Thank you. Unless anybody has anything else, I will look at Councilman Nogales for his,
I make the motion to adjourn this august body.
Second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.